Alright guys, welcome back to another video. This is lesson 3 of the introduction to SolidWorks. And basically here, what we'll be learning today is drawings, basically. So what you have here in front of you is a drawing sheet, and basically what this does is shows like different points of views of a part that you've made. Now here we have the overall basic view of this first part we made in lesson 1. If you guys don't have this part or you guys haven't created it, go ahead and check lesson 1. I'll set up an iCard on the top right corner so you guys could check that out, or I'll leave a link in the description. So basically here we have that isometric view, and basically that gives you an idea of what the part's going to look like in a kind of in a 3D version, right? But over here we also have 3 other views. For example, we have this view, which is kind of like the top view of the part. We have the front view here, and we have another side view here. Now, what these views have is also its dimensions. So, for example, here on this top view, we have kind of like this measurement of 2 between these 2 lines here. So basically, that has like a space of 2. The units as this is in meter, kilogram, second, but we'll be working with different measurements just so it won't be too large. And over here we have, another dimension. We have 50 right here. Right here we also have these roundings, which is telling us that has a radius of 5, and so on and so forth. We also have that 120 by 120 that we've created if you guys seen lesson 1. But yeah, basically what this does, it's basically like a blueprint. So you get an idea how the piece is going to look like and what are its measurements. So yeah, that's basically it. Now over here in this part of the sheet, we have kind of, this is known as a sheet format, and you could edit this just by right clicking and clicking on edit sheet format. And here what you could type in is like the title of your piece or the title of this drawing sheet. You could add like a company name, your drawing number. The drawing number is basically what you title the piece on your file explorer. In this case, mine is tutor 1. And you got the scale. This is a scale from 1 to 2000 because it is in kilograms, so that's pretty big. And you could have various sheets. This is just one of 2. And yeah, basically you have all this stuff, who was it drawn by, when was it drawn, when was it checked, and engineer approved, manufacturing approved, and quality assessment. There's all that type of stuff. This is mostly more for like, when you're already working in a company's going to need you to fill this out. If you're an engineer, if you're, check a quality controller, checking for that quality and all that stuff, There's also tolerances that you can add here. A lot of data that can be added in this table for a certain piece that your company is going to manufacture. So let's go ahead and exit this out and go ahead and open up a new drawing. So what you want to do is go up to this icon, which looks like a house, and you want to click on drawing. This will open up a new drawing. And here you have the different types of formats for your drawing. Depends on your company what kind of format they use. They might ask you to use a certain type of sheet format. What I like using is the A3 ANSI landscape. Not sure why, but it's a pretty good format if you're just doing this as a hobby or yeah, just for educational purposes. So our units, we want to set it to millimeter gram second, mmgs. And basically now you have your sheet to work on. On your left hand side on your property manager, you want to click on browse. This is going to open basically the parts you want to display on your sheet. And that part that we want to display is going to be our first part that we made on lesson 1, which I titled it here tutor 1. So we click on that and it's going to show up basically in a box. It might show us a preview. If we go ahead on our property manager, we can select preview and it'll show us a preview in that little box. Now over here there are different types of views. As you can see, standard views. We have different types of views. We have top view, we have front view, bottom view, all these types of views, right? Now I'm gonna make this isometric because this will be our isometric view that we put up on our right corner. And we do want this in isometric, like I said. Now, as display style, we want this as shaded with edges. So it's gonna look basically like a solid, right? It's not gonna look like a drawing just yet. Now over here in scale, we can use sheet scale or use custom scale. Now it's highly recommended to use sheet scale because it's automatically going to adjust to the sheet size. But if you want to use custom scale, you can go ahead and click on that and then go in the drop down menu and select all these types of different scales. I'm using 1 to 1500 because my piece here is actually in meters, so it is a pretty big piece. So for example, if I use a 1-to-1 scale, look how big that is. That's quite large, right? That's, you can only see the solid and you can't even see the sheet over there. So we're just gonna use sheet scale just so we can automatically do that. And let's go ahead and place that by left clicking. Now that that's placed, we can go ahead and go into our property manager and click on close dialog. So there we go. Now we have it placed on our sheet. If you want to keep editing it, you could go ahead and go to this drawing view 1, right click it, and click on edit feature. And basically if you want to change that standard view, you could go ahead and do that without hesitation. Now here on our display style, we do want to click on high quality just so it could look sharper, you know, could have those sharper edges. You can see here how that quality changes when I use draft quality. So there it looks a bit more rough, right? High quality, it looks a bit crisp. So we're gonna leave that just as is and click OK. So now it's time to set up the other views, and basically to do that you want to go to your right and click over here on view palette. So once that opens up, you want to click up here in browse to select a part/assembly. And here your file manager will open up, and go ahead and click the same part that we are working on. Click on open and just wait till it loads. There you go. Now what you want to do is, well, now that you have these different views, is that you want to go ahead and click and drag on one of the views that you want. Here, as you can see, we have a little check mark. That means we already have the isometric view. It's just making us know that we already have that. But right now we want the top view. So let's go ahead and drag that into our sheet. All right, just like that, and it places in. Now here, the property manager is going to pop up, and this is going to be the settings for the next view we set in, not for the one we just placed. Now, this is known as a projected view. Projected view is basically a view that's going to be automatically made after we set in the previous one. As you can see here, this is a projected view. It's automatically making this view after we've placed in the top view. And this is the if I'm correct, this is the back or front view, one of these views, and we do want one of those. So let's go ahead and place that in. Place it in by left clicking, and there we go. Now our next view, it's gonna be projecting from the first one we made, but we don't want that one. So let's go ahead back into our view palette and click on this right view, because this is the one we want, and it's going to automatically line up with the previous view we made. All right, just so it can, you know, make sense. So let's go ahead and right now we will edit all the features. Now if you move one of the views, it's most likely that another view is gonna move with it because they are connected. If we move this first view, then the second view that we placed is also going to move, because it has to be coincident. It has to make sense on how the parts are, or how the views are supposed to be displayed, right? Now if I move this one, well, that one's not connected to anything except that one, right? Alright, so now what we want to do is go ahead and basically edit the display style. So go ahead into drawing view 2, right click and click on edit feature. Now let's go down, And what I like having is this display style, the hidden lines visible. The reason I like that is because it shows when a hole goes through the piece. For example, it shows when it stops or if it goes all the way through. For example, here, if I zoom in, it's showing us these dotted lines. Basically, what these dotted lines is telling us is that there's a hole that is going all the way through. As you can see, it stops from end to end. Um, that's also useful if there's holes that don't go all the way through, because we have to know the measurement or the length of that. How deep is that hole, right? Or perforation. Now let's go ahead and keep that on. Click on the check mark and go into drawing view 3 and do the same thing. Right click, edit feature, scroll down, and click on that display style. Looks like we already have it there. Go ahead and click OK. Go into drawing view 2, click on edit feature, and click hidden lines visible. Now we could also do different styles. We could also do, this one or this one without the lines, shaded edges, or the smooth one. That's not totally useful if you're doing a drawing, because we do need to see what's like in the interior of the piece, right? All right, now we have our views. Let's go ahead and add the dimensions, which are highly important when you are an engineer. And to do that, we want to go into our annotation toolbar and click on model items here. So basically what this does is that it's going to import measurements from a piece that we've created. So to import the measurements, right here in the property manager, under source, we're going to go ahead and click on entire model. Next, if this box isn't checkmarked on your screen, go ahead and checkmark it. So if it's not, just go ahead and click it, import items into all views. And under dimensions, we want to click on marked for drawing. Now, if it's not checked on your screen, go ahead and click on eliminate duplicates. Make sure that's checkmarked. That basically removes all duplicate measurements. So if we already know from a view that this circle is 50 diameter, and it says the same here, it's basically going to remove that duplicate. Alright, so now that you have those settings selected, let's go ahead and click on the check mark. And there we go. Now we have all these dimensions. Now this is showing in millimeters. As you can see here, this is 50,000 millimeters. This is because I made this piece in meters, so it is going to have those high values. But on yours, if you did set up your piece to millimeters and your sheet to millimeters, then it'll just say like 50 millimeters, right? Alright, so now that we have those values or those smart dimensions, we could actually edit them. We could edit their size font. So let's go ahead and right click. And here in your property manager, you want to click on other. And you want to click off use document font. And then click on font. And here you can change it here. It is in millimeters, so if you want a bit bigger, I'm not sure how it would display in 10 millimeters. Oh, there you go. It becomes a lot bigger. Just in case you can't really see it, right here it's pretty small. I don't think 10 millimeters would be too appropriate because it is quite big. Let's make it a bit smaller because that is a bit too exaggerated. That's all right. Yeah, that's a bit better. If you want to do it on all of them, just go ahead and highlight them and then click on other, click on use document font, or uncheck mark it, click on font, and just type in the number you want and click OK. And there you go. They are all, well, on this view, they're all changed. They're all a bit bigger now. And you could do the same thing with your other views. So let's go ahead and do that. We want to highlight, click on other, uncheck, click on font, and I'll just use 5mm again, and there we go. And you could go ahead and move these around freely wherever you want. I suggest just placing them somewhere where they are visible, because they can overlap and then it'll become hard to read. It is important for it to be visible, because we do want to know those dimensions if we were to view this as a blueprint, right? And just have these as clear as possible. And yeah, there you go. Now another thing we can do is add another sheet. We could do that by right clicking on anywhere and just click on add sheet. And once it loads, it's going to add another sheet, another clean sheet. To go back to your other one, just go down here and click on sheet 1, and you could edit that one perfectly, and you could view your sheet 2 as well. And basically here you could just do the same thing we did. This time we'll do it with the assembly. So go ahead into your view palette on your right side, click on the 3 dots here to browse that file. We want to click on the assembly. So that was lesson 2. If you guys didn't check lesson 2, go ahead and check it out. I'll leave an iCard on the top right corner, and you just want to click on your assembly. So I named it tutor. Just wait for it to load, and there you have all these different views. Once again, we want the isometric view as always. Just drag it into your sheet. Go ahead and click OK for now. We'll change it right now. And you could do this exactly the same thing. Add your other views here, a projected view here. Click OK, go into your view palette, and just add a right view. Now this scale is a bit too big for me, as you can see. Let's go ahead and click OK here. And here you just want to click on this so we can edit it, because we do want it shaded just like that, and we do want it in a high quality resolution. And there we go. Now we could go ahead and move around the views just like that. And we could also, same thing do. We can go ahead and change the display state. It's going to change that one as well, because it is a projected view. And change that one.
And there you go.
You could add your dimensions as well. Just make sure you guys have those settings. And click OK, and there, boom, there you go. You have all those dimensions set up. And you could go ahead and edit your sheet format with all those details that your company or you yourself need. And yeah, that's basically it for this tutorial, this lesson. It's a basic tutorial. I think this is one of my shortest ones. Making drawings isn't too difficult to do, but you do have to do them correctly. And yeah, I hope you guys learned something in this lesson. I'll be uploading, like I said, more lessons in the future and more videos, and hope you guys stay tuned for that. And I hope you guys are learning. All right, I'll see you guys for the next video. Thanks.